Toledo meetup today. We got Wolfe coming, Michael Solomon.
Yep. And hopefully a lot more friends.
Yeah, a lot of Michigan crew. Yeah. So if you guys are, I don't know why I come.
Don't mind the rain and the wipers in the background. This is Ohio after all, and I don't know if you guys have experienced the crazy amount of X's in the sky like we have. It has been an assault, truly, on our skies for the last probably this whole week. This whole entire week. It's been beautiful weather. We were able to ride bikes with our family.
Like what, 4 or 5 times?
I feel like almost every day this week.
Yeah.
But
bike's like every day.
it was crazy to see all of the chemtrails in the skies. Great learning lesson for us to teach our nephews more about the toxins raining down on us.
Yeah, which is so crazy, you know. If you just look at it from a common sense standpoint, you see these when you see these planes like zigzagging across the sky all day long, you know, people are gonna be like, "Oh no, those are just contrails." Okay, then what are they doing?
Right.
They ain't taking people in there.
Right.
There doesn't look like there's any point. And if they're testing out equipment just to go back and forth all day long, every day, it seems like just like a waste of money.
Well,
you know, 'cause that's all of our tax dollars going up there for, you know, these government
to dim the
agencies.
sun.
Yeah.
Because it's so important for
Crazy.
climate change.
Yeah.
What was such an educational moment where we were at is sort of the strip of where all the planes land in Cleveland. So we could literally point out to them, okay, look, you see that plane taking off and that plane landing. There is nothing trailing after them. So what are those planes doing?
And they're going in one direction, and then they go out of our, out of our distance.
Yep.
And then the other planes, they just go zigzagging in our view for like 30, 40, 50 minutes to an hour at a time.
Right.
And then a secondary plane showed up. So,
Yeah.
you know, it's like...
So needless to say, we blew their minds a little.
Yeah.
But it was really good.
But again, that's not even a conspiracy. You know, that is...
It's the truth.
The only conspiracy with chemtrails is that there's a nefarious aspect to it.
Yeah.
Not that they're doing it. Of course, you know, there's whole websites, there's hearings, there's, you know, all sorts of things, C-SPAN, all sorts of stuff. They're talking about it, and they're telling you what they're doing. So it's not even...
Right, that it's such a good thing.
Yeah.
But as anybody who's watched the skies knows, you have multiple days of spring. You're inevitably going to have rain following. So that is today. Super dreary, dark, gray rain.
So today brings the chemicals down on us.
Right.
So, yeah. So,
Yippee.
so actually, you know what? That was, you know, we're headed to a meetup. So I want to talk about a few things today. I believe I have something that proves that gravity is a farce. Completely a farce. And that actually has to do with, I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag too much.
Hey, Nate.
But it has to do with ionization and atmospheric purification that Yahweh has created to clean the air. And so me and Liz, we've been in air purification for a long time. And we have a lot of tools that we now are realizing, and they are demonstrative tools that now seem to go against everything that we're taught, because certain demonstrations that we were able to do in the past now are showing and proving that gravity doesn't exist, you know, based on these particulates, based upon a lot of the things that we worked on. And so I'm going to show you guys that. I hope that blows you guys away. That would be really cool. So
we got a lot of things in the works. We had an experiment that we did a little bit ago, and got to redo it. Conditions weren't exactly right, so got to wait till the fairies
not involved in the planning of that, so that's all those guys. So
we're just along for the ride.
I'm thinking yes, but yeah. So we just got off of for most people, in the truther community, whatever we want to call it, we just got off of the most dreadful time of the year, right? To the world, it's the most wonderful time. To the truther community, it's the most dreadful time of the year. So I wanted to spend some time chatting about that, and bringing that back full circle to cosmology. But we got friends all across the board, and this is one thing I wanted to just put out there. We got friends all across the board who have different opinions on this topic, and I'm going to be the first one to say that is okay. It is okay if we don't see eye to eye. Tom Dunn did a video, and he said the same thing. He goes, it's okay if you disagree with me. And I'm going, cool. Me and Tom are so good friends, and it's like, what his opinion is doesn't offend me. And hopefully, guys, somebody else's opinion doesn't offend you. Where they're at in their walk, especially how they see this day. But one thing that I wanted to share with you guys is, some of the one of the biggest misclaims out there. Just keep it off. I can see. It's just annoying anymore. Liz is my, as you guys know, she's a
paranoid driver.
Paranoid, front seat, back seat driver. So it is.
Come join us back, Doc Michael.
Go
right when you're done. We'll be on the road for a while.
You can see the road. It's really not even raining, but
it's better now.
Yeah, Liz has to turn on the windshield, thinking that I can't see.
Safety first.
Yeah. But one of the things about Christmas time is that in the truther community we talk about how it was illegal until 1870 in the United States. That actually technically isn't correct. It was recognized as a holiday in 1870. The ban of the Puritans was much earlier, even as early as the late 1600s when they pulled the ban off. So it was not a recognized holiday. Many still opposed it all those years, and it wasn't smiled upon. It was definitely there were groups that frowned upon it due to a lot of the aspects. So a lot of people will say that it was illegal till that time, but that gives us about a number of 149 years that it's been recognized as a national holiday in our country. And so right off the bat, the one thing that I want to challenge everybody with, where we think, where we stand with that, as a nation, have we grown closer to him? If this is so good and so great,
and all about the birth of Christ.
It's all about the birth of Christ and all these goodness. We've had 149 years to make a stance. And so I'm going to say something really heretical to those that absolutely love Christmas and hate biblical cosmology. But I've seen and watched 149 years of us, and I know everybody's going to say, well, that's why we have to put Christ back into Christmas for those that want to, keep this. 149 years, because it's not riddled in full truth. Now, don't get me wrong when I say this. For those of you who absolutely hate this time, the birth of Christ is truth, right? So we all know that is 100% truth. The scripture readings are truth. A lot of the Christmas hymns are truth. Not all of them, but the vast majority of them are truth. So we're rolling with this truth and half truth, and we lived in that truth and half truth. I'm not compared. See, Liz thinks she's already agreeing with me. She will in a second. But we lived that half truth when we believed in geocentricity, but yet we didn't understand the fullness of cosmology. It didn't change us.
Right.
Being half truth, half lie didn't change us. It was only when we came to full truth that we really, started to understand things, and that's what we're starting to see on start to see this true deception. So I'm going to say this: 149 years of running with half-truths that are riddled in lies, and some of the blatant lies. We have Santa taking the place of an all-knowing, omniscient God, and replacing Yahweh himself. Right? We've lived that for now 149 years, basically in this country. We've lived all these other realms. Our churches are filled, on C&E, whether they're Catholic churches or Christian churches, they're full. Why aren't they full the next week? If it's changing the game so much, why isn't it full every single Sunday? Why aren't the Sunday pews filled up? They're not, because they're not riddled in truth. They're coming because they're going for grandma and they're going for their mom, and their family goes, so they all show up and they think this is part of their duty. They can do 1 day a year, or 2 days a year, and that's what we start to see. And I'm not saying this. People do get saved at Christmas services. I've seen it with my own eyes, and I know those people to this day who have come to saving grace because the truth was preached and the truth was shown. So we can't be so foolish on the side to say that no, there are good things that have happened. God doesn't stop working during this time just because there's some falsities going on here. Well, not some falsities, a lot of falsities. But I'm going to say what is so heretical to those of you who love this time of year and absolutely, abhor biblical cosmology. What we have seen in just the last 5 years of biblical cosmology, atheists turning from their ways, denouncing that there is no God and believing in a true God, the true God, of coming to true saving grace, because the veil has been lifted from their eyes. I will trade in 150 years if we manage that long, which I don't believe we would. I would trade 150 years of true biblical cosmology being taught with true Christ at the end point in the true game, not what we're seeing in secular flat earth, but what we're seeing in biblical cosmology of being an apologetic defense of the Word of God. I will trade that fruit basket with the last 150 years of Christmas. And I'm not saying that people didn't come to that, but what we're seeing is, we're getting testimonials. Rob Skiba, Robbie Davidson, these guys share these things. Robbie shares with me these things all the time. I get phone calls just by putting on the conference and people saying, hey, I'm not able to make it, but I just want to encourage you to keep going, because I hated God a year ago. I now serve him and walk in his ways because of now that I see, and he's showed me his truth, and now I accept him. Now I believe him, right? And
super encouraging.
It's so that's going to sound super heretical to those of you who are on either side of those scopes, but that's what we see. And I don't know. Obviously, guys like Nate Wolfe, who's been a pastor for 26 years, having this discussion with him, has he, he's seen more fruit in the last, years for people than he has of just Christmas services. And that doesn't mean that goodness or wholesomeness or things didn't take place during that time of the year.
Yep. Nate, if you're still on, chime in. Love to get your insight on this.
And, and I've talked to him about this, but that doesn't, I don't mean to throw all this shade on there, because this time of the year should not be the most dreadful time of the year. If you guys watched our show that we did on Celebrate Truth, this should be, this is the day that the Lord has made, and I will rejoice and be glad in it. It is not, just because we know it's connected to deities, being born on that day, or the winter solstice being changed, or just this season of the witch's wheel that we, that's that's what they've done to his days. These are still his days. Every day is his, you know. And what I want to encourage everybody, go ahead.
I was just going to say that's a really good point that was brought up in the Christmas question. If anybody's watched that, yes. So Nate, my own experience is numbers go up on holidays, but commitment does not, or at least it lasts only a week or so. Yeah,
you know,
just what we've seen.
But that, you know, that just like with geocentricity, you know, which I'm equating it to because it's something that's rooted in half truths,
right?
Some truth and then lies. Mm-hmm. You know, look, I'm going to tell you, if you're keeping Christmas, I'm going to tell you, stop telling your children, stop telling your congregation, stop telling other people that this was his birthday. You know, you can at least stop doing that because you know it's not true, right? You can
Everybody knows it's not true. That's the crazy thing to me. You know, I've posted about it before, and I've had multiple Christian friends be like, yeah, I know that,
but they teach it to their kids that it is true.
Yeah, you're continuing this lie.
And there is no reason to do that. Now, you know, reading the scripture passages about his birth, his coming in, you know, and look, I'm going to say it like this too. And I already forgot where I was going to say before.
Sorry.
But maybe I'll remember. But look, Christ has a day where he came into this world as a child, as when he became fully man and fully God. There is a timetable that occurred in. But let's be very clear. When we keep saying, and I think this might be one of the reasons why he says don't celebrate my birthday throughout the scripture, is because guess why? He doesn't have a birthday. When we continue to perpetuate the lie that he actually has a birthday, he was and is to come. He is the Logos who was there from the very beginning.
Yeah.
He has no end. He has no beginning. He has no date. Yeah. And we continue to just spread that, that he has a birthday. Even when we're trying to figure out when he came into this world, that's all that is. And I think that's very clear of why we're not supposed to keep this.
Right. Does that change anyone?
Yeah, because he's not a creature. He's not been created. He is and was and is to come, right? And we know this. And it's like, that's what we need to continue to remember. That's why, you know, his feast days are all about what he has done. And coming into this world is very important because we need to know that for people to understand that he was fully God and fully man, the birth is extremely important. The virgin birth is extremely important. And you know what? We need to continue to teach that and talk about that, you know, and just now start putting in its proper perspective. So, you know, everybody that, you know, loves this time of the year, look, family time is great. You know, there's nothing wrong with spending time with family. You know?
And that's what we did.
You know, yeah, family came in town, we went and saw them. You know, we're not going to go shun them because of this or that. You know, we're not going to do that. We went out, rode bikes and did
We're gonna love on them and make memories.
Yeah, I mean, we're not even going to make this an issue. We're going to, you know.
Hey Alex, hey Ruth.
Yeah.
Yes, I completely agree. When Chris and I were having this discussion, was it last week or the week before, about this, and he said that statement, I was like, wow, that's powerful when you grasp that understanding. Maybe that's why there is no particular birth date for Yeshua. So, yeah, I agree.
I don't know, what was I saying before? Because I had a point that I was right before that.
Well, I mentioned the Christmas question. We watched that, and there was a lot of good insight into it.
I see everybody's, you know, a lot of people are like, yeah, the Christmas question was good, it was all right, wasn't powerful enough. You know, here, and this is the truth of the matter. If you are looking for something so powerful to share with your friends and your family, the only thing that can lead somebody to truth is is the Spirit Himself. And so when somebody has a hardened heart, no matter what, so when some people say, well, it wouldn't convince my family members, you know,
that's not the producer director's job.
That's not their job.
To convince your family members.
You know, it's not. You know, just like when you go to, you know, just when you went to a church service, heard a good sermon, watched a good video, it's not that person's job to convince you of anything. You know, can they be used by the Spirit to open up,
right? Plant seeds,
and plant some seeds, and then yes, for sure. But I think that documentary,
and it's your job to water those seeds. Don't forget that.
And so I think that was done well, very well, because if we come to this topic of, like, let's say we want to get rid of Christmas and we're against it, and we've come to that, but if we've come to that because we've been convinced in our own mind, or somebody else convinced us, or it was a really convincing video, but the Spirit never convicted us to do that, then we're going to lead with all the aspects of not the fruits of the Spirit,
right?
Which will reveal that where we've been. It will reveal if we've been revealed to by Him.
Yeah, it's like you're supposed to lightly water these seeds for the plants to grow, not drown them so they die. And I think that's what happens too often.
Oh yeah, and then
in
now,
this community.
Yeah, especially now that Facebook is our means of communication, and it's just nothing but memes, and we may share something, but was that meme created with somebody else's convictions, or was it the conviction of the Holy Spirit to do that?
Yes.
You know, I would say in 9 times out of 10, those were created just to be jabs to get people to say, look at how foolish you are for doing, you know, this. Like, you know, that, you know, like all those classic ones that I love, like, you know, God bless this food that, you know, you told us not to eat on the day that you told us not to celebrate. Great meme. We want to share that and, like, jab that into people, and you go, is that how the Holy Spirit
really
works?
Right, showing the fruit.
Yeah, right? I mean, no, He leads with kindness. You know, if you have those, kindness, love, long-suffering, patience, you know, the list goes on, and yet none of those, at the end of the day, we think that, we start seeing all the other aspects, but...
Hey, Shane, yes, Shane agrees about the Christmas connection. Truth was presented, absolutely, and it was presented in a beautiful way, and it's up for the viewer to choose.
Yeah, I think that's the, I think that was the point, they let them walk away making that decision. Because if we convince our family, or this documentary convinced our family, then most likely it's something that's not going to stick. Maybe something like Nate's point earlier.
Right.
They would come to church and make a commitment to, rededicate their lives, and then
right.
It never stuck. Was it because it was just a moment? Or was it emotion?
For sure.
And that's what we get. I mean, church services are great at that. I mean, but 149 years. Next year will be 150 years of legalized Christmas in the United States, and the fruit basket should be overwhelming. But that was my other point. I now remember. The most dreadful time of the year. This should be the most glorious time of the year. And my point is what everybody in this community should be doing, no matter what your neighbor thinks, no matter what your family thinks. What good religion is taking care of the widows and the orphans, taking care of those that are less fortunate than we are. And we could use this time of the year to say, you know what, I'm not going to look at the bells and the whistles. I'm not going to look at what everybody's walking in bad truth. Because that's not the prerequisite for what good religion is. Take care of the widows and the orphans. If they understand all the Torah, if they understand all the lies of Christmas, if they understand that, it didn't say any of that. It says take care of the widows and the orphans. That's what it says in James, what good religion is, what good faith is. And, all those things happen to be riddled all throughout the Torah itself. All the instructions tell us to take care of the widows and the orphans.
I think we should share a really amazing story that goes along with that happened.
Yeah, we'll do that. But let me finish this.
Okay.
So that is my encouragement to you guys, is of like, oh, we made it. December 26th is here. Finally. You know, if you view it differently of how I can serve someone during this time, I guarantee you, you will be shining that light that he's asking us to shine during this time of year. When do we go, you know what? No, we're not going to participate in this. We're not going to participate in that. How can we get involved, not shut up our doors? You know, I mean, it's sort of like Halloween, right? You know, I mean, it's my birthday, so we've always had an easy excuse not to like ever pass out candy or anything like that. So, you know, we've always pretended that was our excuse when we were like, no, we ain't doing this satanic holiday. You know, so our lights stay off. But are our lights off to a world that's dying, that needs him, that we are commanded to go take care of the less fortunate? Are our lights off like it is on Halloween during a whole season of people, you know, that are needing help, that are just desperate for help, and we're turning it off because we are rooted in our truths that suppress the true truths of helping others? So, you know, for those people like that created really good videos like Matt Long, you know, who talked about the goodness of like taking care of, you know, others and giving, we need to reclaim that back. Those are good things, and they're not centered around, don't say they were centered around Christmas giving. No, this is centered around true biblical giving of what we've been commanded to do. Not because you have to do this, but because you desire to do that.
You get the opportunity to do it.
You know, and that's something that I'll encourage you to do. And if you switch that and your family changes and you raise up children to just go out and give, not to be the kids that want to receive. You know, people want to give our son lots of gifts because they know he doesn't get gifts from us at that time of the year. So they're like, oh man, he's so, you know, poor.
He's so deprived.
He's so deprived.
No, he's not.
And it's like, no, he lives in plastic land, and he's got so much stuff, you know, and you know, he gets stuff, you know, but I would rather have him, you know, give. And you know, we were able to teach him, you know, some kids, and you know, we asked this question: is be honest with yourself. Would you rather give or receive? And their answer was, if I'm gonna be honest, I'd rather just receive. And that's where that moment changes. If this time of the year you go, you know what, I don't care about all that stuff. I'm not gonna focus on it. If all you can do is control your family. Once your family knows we don't celebrate this, we don't do this, then what do? Do you go out and just try to recruit a bunch of people to your miserable club? Because that's what it is. Or do you go and share the light at that time of the year? And so that's what, you know, our challenge to ourselves, to you, to everybody. And then it doesn't become this, and then it becomes a tractable. Well, why don't you guys do this? Well, here's what we do at this time of the year. Because we can all center around this. It's the fourth quarter. It's miserable. It's snowy. It's all these things. You know, we're money is just low because it's all being fed into the machine. But there are people out there hurting, you know, that really need that. So hopefully, you know, go ahead and share your story.
Yeah. So we were given the opportunity to teach Sunday school. Yes, we do still go to a Sunday church. It's Chris's family that runs the church, and we've never been asked to leave. We've never been pushed out. We've never felt the call to leave. So we have stayed there. And
it doesn't affect what we do for other aspects.
No. And we try to share truth every bit we get. And so I was called up to
sometimes a lot harder than others.
Yeah, teach Sunday school, and Chris sat in with me, so we tag teamed it, and we had my son was in there, and our son, of course, and our nephews that were from out of town, and then other kids of the church. And so we basically gave this type of a lesson. You know, this is Christmas Sunday, and we should be talking about the birth of Christ, but hey, we're teaching. So
we told them,
we're going to share truth.
He was not born at this time. No, that's a lie. But we had a point to why.
Yes. Yes, and so we were able to, get to the heart of the matter with them, ask those poignant questions, and ask for their honesty. And they were very upfront and honest, and it was good because then we could show them what the true religion was. Basically, Chris gave this whole lesson to the kids, and at the end, we knew that some of the other kids had been they've expressed it in other youth group lessons that maybe they didn't really know that they had a relationship with Jesus. They know him, but he doesn't really know them. And so, knowing this, Chris gave the sinner's prayer as part of the end, the close.
It was different, but it was...
Yeah. And little did we know that our son, who we've been talking to him for a long time, he's 7, he gets it, and I talk with him every night. He's a very inquisitive little boy, and he's a chatterbox at night, so that's my favorite time to just have quiet moments with him, and we talk about it a lot. And I always tell him, I want this to be your decision, because I can walk you through this, but I want you to do it on your own when you're ready and grasp it fully. So I've been hammering that home to him lately, and little did we know that he prayed along with us with that prayer, and told us afterwards, and we were elated. It was it was the best day ever. It really was.
So there are good things that can happen and that can occur, and no doubt about it. And but it's time to reclaim, the true truth of what is going on out there, and that's where we start to see, these fruit baskets half empty or not flourishing like they should be, and that's why so many people, we even asked, there were kids in there where we said, who were teenagers, said, did you ever hear that he was not born on December 25th? And just totally blew their minds. Now, think about what happens when a kid like that, who's a teenager, goes and, just floats through high school, nominal believer at best, if not at all, then goes to college, gets a college professor to, share about all the world's aspects of cosmology, never-ending, expanding universe, aspect of aliens and outside life, every other realm. Then they go and watch the Zeitgeist documentary, which turned so many believers to atheists. Even Christian artists, one of the biggest UK Christian rap artists who had a huge ministry where it was like almost 20 years, goes and watches the Zeitgeist documentary, then starts to do research, and then becomes a full-blown atheist, because they're not even rooted in truth. He probably never even knew that in doing ministry and preaching the gospel and doing all these things, and his faith was so weak at the root that when he saw compromising information that could lead him astray, it absolutely did. Now he's a full-blown atheist. He happens to have been I believe it was Maxine Priest's nephew or something like that, but he was a UK Christian rapper, and he had a huge career over there overseas, and walked away from that. So what do you think happens to these kids when they grow up with this mindset? Because in that documentary, you're going to quickly learn. It tells you, Jesus was born December 25th, so was all these other gods. They all had 12 disciples. They put all these realms together and just show you that the story of Jesus, Yeshua, is just a carbon ripoff of all these other stories that were once told beforehand. And then once you start to plant that seed, and then you start to water that seed, but they're not watering that seed, they're flooding that seed. And once that flood comes in, their faith goes so far out the door. It was either so fickle, and that comes from a guy for 20 years in the faith, sees compromising information, and now his website and all of his information is just riddled with all this false information about how Yeshua never even existed. And you know, guys like Bart Ehrman, he was a Christian, supposed Christian, who came to all this information. Now writes the manuals as one of the most leading atheists, in this world, and he's like their apologetist for atheism, and it's all based upon all this information. So so when we continue to teach these lies and celebrate him in manners he said never do, and then we go and continue to perpetuate lies to the children, where the pastors, the adults go, yeah, we already know he was born this day. So what's the big deal? But you're telling it to your children, and then you're never telling them the truth, and then they're just gonna lump this together. And I'm telling you, Christmas is a part of this deception to continually tell you that he's got a birthday, like that when I already told you he doesn't, and that we center it all around that lie. And so then when you add in the aspect of cosmology, Big Bang, evolution, it all starts fitting like a piece of this puzzle once they start to uncover aspects of these lies. Well, maybe if he wasn't born on December 25th, everything that I knew was a lie. Well, if that was a lie, then what else is a lie? And then if they go, well, I believed in creation, and then now I heard, that Ken Ham Bill Nye debate, and Bill Nye made some really good points, and oh man, I don't know, then I saw this website, and I saw the Zeitgeist documentary, and then we're wondering why our children are leaving the faith at a massive rate, because it's not rooted in anything. And then they start to learn that Paul didn't teach against the law. What? Wait a minute. So then we grow up in churches, Liz grew up in a fundamentalist church who was all about God's laws, right? It was all to this, and then adding to the laws, right? And so, but then if push comes to shove, well, no, the law's been done away with.
Right.
Wait a minute, but
you have to keep our laws.
You got to keep our laws, and then you got to keep these 9 commandments. You got to focus on this. So is the law done away with or not done away with? So then we come to this revelation, and then you're putting Jesus versus Paul. So there's that whole debate. Then you got nothing but the debate of, have we been chosen? Do we get to choose? The Calvinist, Arminius debate. You know what? All these things start getting dumped on our young people as they start to mature in their faith. And you know what they do? Then they start seeing bickering and fighting, half truth, half lies, and they go, you know what? I'm done with this.
And a lot of hypocrites.
Just nothing but hypocritical. And that's why they end up leaving. And being involved in youth ministry for 20 years where we propagated a lot of these lies, like pre-trib rapture. And then when the kid goes, I can't find it in the Bible. This is a lie. And we were left behind thumpers, We were. We pushed.
We had big events all around. Premiere of those.
Yeah, we would. We would take the kids to the movies, or we would give out the tickets. When it came out on VHS, we had the VHS and showed the tapes. So VHS.
Yep.
That's
we were there.
That was the first one. The second one.
That's true. That's true.
So it was only for 1 year. But we did all those things, and we've watched a generation of kids rooted in half truths walk away. And
didn't we show the Thief in the Night? And some people walked out because they were too scared.
Yeah. No. We wanted to show that.
Oh, but it was too scary.
It was too
weren't
scary.
allowed.
We were blocked.
Yeah.
By other youth leaders.
Yeah.
That was so. But that's our whole point to this whole thing is, if we continue to walk in half truths, and don't get me wrong, there are truths to so many things that we talked about here. There's truths to the Advent time. We can't be so foolish to say it's all nothing but one lie. No, half truths has to be so close to truth that it seems believable. That's the aspect of heresy, that it has to look true. It has to pass X amount of tests for you to stick to that. You know, you have to be able to continue to believe a lie even when there's proofs, like eating clean. No, I can show you scientifically God never changed these laws. He never changed them at all because science proves it. But yet we can continue to give half-truths about other aspects of Scripture, so then we end up going, oh, well, we can eat garbage. Now we're sicker than we've ever been as a nation.
Right.
We're this, we're that.
Yeah. God, where are you? Why aren't you saving me from this horrible illness?
Right. You know,
that I've put upon myself.
Yeah, I have cancer now. Why, Lord? Why? And we're sitting there walking in half-truths again. So, and look, we're walking probably in half-truths in some aspect of our lives too. He's the one who reveals these truths.
Yeah.
We don't get to choose and dictate when we've been revealed these things. When he reveals them, we have a choice whether we believe them or not. And you know, so that's the thing. It's like we've got to continue to be Bereans, test the word, and understand that we're all in this same position. We're all either walking in some parts of truth, some parts of lies. We can encourage our brothers and sisters in the faith when we think, hey, I've got something to share with you. We don't need to bicker and fight. We don't need to do that, because that's part of why so many young people are leaving as well. I mean, it's just nothing but mayhem. And I get it. We're like on the fringes of everything.
That's what we feel like.
We're the fringes. We're not in this inner circle of any group.
Nope.
And
Never have been.
We have 14 of you guys watching. What you guys rock?
13.
Somebody just dropped because they're like, forget this.
Hey, Kelly, we're going to miss you today, but hey, you know you've got your seat reserved for Take on the World 2020. And for a quick update, we'll probably wrap this up since we're getting close.
Yeah,
We are still in talks with Heartland Retreat Center, which is the potential new location for Take on the World 2020. So nothing has been officially signed yet, so you haven't made that full announcement, but we're getting closer. So
so this we'll take this time right here again to share with what the mission for Take on the World 20 is to kind of push past the garbage. There's so much stuff out there. There's a lot of good teaching. There's a lot of this, but good teaching is great. Do I need to be over or? There's lots of good teaching. We don't need to rely on. There's a good post the other day. We don't need to rely on these good teachers constantly. When we have the Spirit who presides in us if we're believers, and we have His Word, and we have prayer closets, we have places where we can go to these things. So it's not even the fact that you even need Take on the World 20. Maybe for fellowship, maybe for those things, but those other things, it's like you can learn this stuff, and we all can just by walking in this way. So I don't want to get this guy in the camera. Hold on. How you doing? Can I get a receipt too? All right, thank you. So needless to say, you guys don't necessarily need Take on the World. Okay, we're going north. So you don't need Take on the World 20, but what we want.
But you do.
Yeah, what you do, you want. If you want it, great. So I'm not saying we're the end all be all, of course not. So that's all. That was my whole point of that.
But we have a great time.
Yeah. But this year we really want to focus on equipping. I haven't talked. For example, me and Liz were talking, and
so this will be our 4th year, correct? Yes.
Yes, this will be your 4th year.
4th conference. So the past 3 conferences, we've had a lot of the same
wrong. We're still going to have that. We're
Of
still going
course,
to have second.
there's still going to be that. But now that we've had 3 years of amazing information, what are we going to do with it? And that's really the focus for 2020 is we're going to have a 2020 vision. We are going to be equipping everybody who comes. So not only are you going to still get education, but you're going to be able to learn how to use that education and equip people, whether they want to go, into the spiritual warfare. That's, a huge aspect of the
really just on every topic is starting to harmonize spirit with truth, because we've all been walking in, these new truths.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's about harmonizing them with walking in spirit, and when you do that, then the equipping really will start to happen. So I know there's a need for deliverance sessions. There's a need for lots of things of just equipping your prayer life. How to make a more effective prayer life. Somebody like, I was thinking, like a guy like Chad Schaefer, for example. What I would ask him, and what I will ask him, and I'll do this publicly because I don't mind. Chad's
like accountability.
Disputed Lands, hopefully tomorrow, maybe the last one of the year. I'm thinking that they'll probably end up doing it. So tomorrow is the last one of 2019 of the Gregorian calendar. Well, I would love for Chad on having a more effective prayer life, and then ending it with having a group of men and women in there that will pray as a group with one another. So for example, him leading a session, a breakout session of equipping us to have a more effective prayer life, and then those that need deliverance and healing and just straight up prayer for things going on in their lives. Maybe it's an illness or this or whatever it may be. Guys like Tom or Jared or Nathan Reynolds, or some of our guys that are so astute in spiritual warfare and prayer ministries. Just being in there.
Kevin mentions Dr. Lake. We would love to have Dr. Lake. We hope this is the year he tells us yes.
Yeah, maybe. But running some sessions like that, we see are so needed. Because you know what? We all come with so many realms.
Mm-hmm.
Look, the power of addictions afflicts the truther community like no other.
And that's one that we really want to have a strong presence at the conference, is overcoming addictions.
Overcoming addictions, whether they're physical, mental, things that are still holding us back, that Satan, especially when we come into truth.
Yep.
I'm going to say it like this. When you come into truth, Satan's going to do everything to get you to stop walking in spirit and in truth.
Yep. And it may just not be you. It may be he's going to use everybody around you.
Yeah.
We found that, for sure.
Well, think about it like this. If he can keep you from walking in spirit when you gain truth, he's already won.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're only effective when you're walking in spirit and in truth. If you're walking in spirit alone without truth, you're not going to be as effective as walking in spirit and truth. And if you're walking in truth alone without spirit, it doesn't really hold too much weight. It may make a splash up in the pond, but that's all that it's really going to do. Is it going to change? Is it going to change people? It may change topics. It may change aspects, but to really make a change for the kingdom, it's not going to do. And he's going to use it. That's a little bit of that truth. I believe God can still use somebody who's just in truth, to still reach people. But how much more effective is in spirit and truth? And I see that addictions, drinking, smoking, drugs, things that were afflicting our past, things that we've watched, things that we listened to, those addicting aspects of that stuff that are still part of us because they continue to cling as we gain more truth. They want to come back even harder. and many people have even mentioned that, and we're seeing a need and a call to stop that, to crush that, because that's what is how he makes us ineffective, by destroying us as we gain this, because now it's going to be heightened even more. And I see. It's going to be heightened at a level that, you know what, when we weren't walking in spirit and truth, when we didn't have as much truth, it might have been easier to stop maybe some of our addictive aspects. And I'm not saying everybody's dealing with this, but I'm saying a lot of us probably are. And we absolutely need sessions on it. We don't just need to hear a good talk about it. We need to know how to overcome it.
And deliverance.
Yeah.
And Leon, you're so right. Walking in truth with no spirit, you turn into a terrorist. And this movement is loaded with them. It's sad.
And that's
sad but true.
But you know what? To be honest with you, that's what the law does by nature. It will either cause us to love and obey him, or it's going to cause us to be like the Sadducees, the Pharisees, the Israelites that were divorced because they had no love. They just wanted to do their own thing. And it's going to do those two things. It's going to push us away. It's going to make us legalistic, or it's going to cause us to just want to love and obey him. And just because of him, because of spirit, is the only way we're going to be able to love and obey him. It's got to be something, and it's got to come from, the reason why, which is we love him because he first loved us. And if we don't walk in that, if we don't remember that, if those aren't the realms, then it's just going to fall. It's all going to fall completely flat on this flat earth. So yeah, I said it.
So we're really excited. We're really excited for this new vision for Take on the World 2020. We're going to take it up a notch. Along with what Chris mentioned, we're going to hopefully also focus on having more classes on marriage and just even more things. We're working on a lot.
Maybe even some aspects of, because a lot of you want some homesteading things, maybe some just some 101 type of stuff for those people that are, how do I, what do I do? Do I,
how do I start this?
Everybody prepares each week for, weekly rest to make sure that their weekly rest is good, but yet, how do we prepare, just in the case of, I'm not even saying in time, but how do we prepare our finances? How do we do this? And, I know Rob Blackwell, I want to get Rob Blackwell from out of the microphone, using his guitar and his voice, only for a short time, because we still need that, and we still want that. But to get him and actually start to teach. If you guys haven't seen his Now You See TV finances presentation he did, he would be great just to lead a how-to, on some of these things, a preparation financially for hard times, end times, no matter what it is, and I'm not trying to get all, conspiratorial, like scared or something of that nature. That's not what we're talking about. But just how do we prepare for tough times, in whatever scenario that is. And so I think he would be great for that. So we have a lot of things that we'd like to do, that we feel being pushed to do.
So stay tuned. Stay tuned
so it should
for
be
the
great.
announcements.
But of course, we still want to have topics where people bring new information. We do expose new things as we do year to year. Guys like Ian Chadwick, and he's got fantastic info. Rob Skiba always brings an awesome presentation. But we want to continue to do more and more of that stuff as well. So don't think that we're getting away from what we've done. We want to just enhance that and have you walk away with. Kim Kuwitsa is messaging. So she just said everybody should be watching the Table of showbread, radiation, and frequencies.
That looks good.
There it is.
Watch it.
You can YouTube that. So thanks, Kim. That was a live, exclusive recommendation. So yeah, we're always getting recommendations. So that is what we are planning on doing. So hopefully, you guys are wanting to come take on the world 20.
Mm-hmm.
New location.
Yep.
So
new opportunities.
Yep. So that's where we're at right now.
Yep.
And that could all change next week, and we can be giving you something else. So it's all in his provisions, if he wants to have it.
Yeah.
But he wouldn't put. I don't think he'd put all this on us to then say no, don't want you to do it. So
we're always in prayer. So if you could add the conference to your list, we'd greatly appreciate it.
So all right, guys. So enough of the chit chat. We did that so we could kill our drive time. And so what I'm going to be doing, I want you guys to stick with Take on the World TV all day today, because we are live streaming the Meetup today.
Yep.
So Michael Solomon
Toledo
presentation, Nate Wolfe presentation, and so it's going to be blast. So stick with us all day today on Take on the World TV. Go out there, like, share, subscribe, all those fun things.
And we'll be going live in maybe 45 minutes
something like
with
that.
the Meetup.
Yeah.
So
I'm gonna go buy. I'm gonna be going. So pray for us real quick. I'm gonna be going in and into a CD shop right here. So I'm gonna be looking for some stuff. And so
all this fuels the conference fund.
Yeah. So all this will help fuel the conference fund. So yeah, if you guys could pray that I find something, it'd be great, because I drove all this way. So stick with us. Take on the World TV. And if you guys are selling 80s Christian rock and just standard Christian music from the late 80s or early 90s, hit me up. I'll buy them from you. So you guys have a blessed day, and of course you'll see us at Take on the World TV. We'll be back.
We'll be back on soon. So keep your day open.
See you guys.